Cardio FPV is when you have to haul 45 pounds of luggage, gear basically, up 3 steep hills to enjoy some nice weather, fresh air, listen to the birds, and do some long distance FPV. As part of the pre-flight check, I used AirMap application to make sure that I'm not violating any regulation, as well as my flight path is also outside any controlled airspace. Once I took off and made sure all the systems are functioning as they should, I started heading towards the ridge line that you see on those dark hills. And actually that ridge line is a road that leads you towards Mount Diablo. And what I did is just follow the track down below on the right hand side that you see towards that hill. I kept the altitude as low as possible, and made it sure that the line of sight is always maintained. I made few passes at that point, and as you can see in the video, at one point I had reached about, I would say 4 miles out there. And once I made few passes, I flipped the switch to return to home, because one of the things coming back was kind of bothering me was that the sun was actually oversaturating the camera and couldn't see anything. So I had to switch to return to home at this point to find my way back home and not to get lost. But overall, it was pretty good. I still knew where I was. One thing I noticed when I switched to return to home, I noticed that the amperage was dropping to only 1 amp, 2 amp, and it felt like that the plane was actually nosing down, and the speed was pretty good. So it occurred to me that my return to home was set as 100 meter, and the plane was actually trying to lose altitude, and that's what was happening. So maybe next time I need to set return to home based on how high I am and where I'm flying. Once I came back and made few passes, everything looked good. I was pretty excited, and then just landed, and it was a smooth sailing. And luckily there was no wind, but on my second flight, I did actually 2 flights back to back. On the second flight, the wind had picked up, so I didn't take much chances. The plane was pretty badly shaking and stuff. So this was a good
Inside
flight.
There's a flight controller and 5200 milliamp 3-cell battery. I'm using TBS Crossfire on my TX16S transmitter, loving it, pretty reliable. And ready-made RC transmitter with true RC antenna, and to fly with I'm using Cobra X goggles, loving them. I think if anything, these goggles are as good as DJI goggles, even better. I would say a lot less the price. Maybe you can take 1 point off or so, but here we go. So we got the RunCam 2 camera. It's not the 4K one. So the main thing I want to demonstrate here is the ability for this plane. When I'm going to have to reach into the stick. When I roll the plane, you can see both the ailerons and my camera are basically moving together. And this is basically what it is. Think about as a motorcycle, as you're riding a motorcycle, what happened when you roll the motorcycle, you lean towards one side, but you're not looking straight, you're looking towards left, if you're turning left, right? So your head is pointing in the direction that you want to go. And that's what I've tried to do here, which really, really helps. You can see it from here also, and I'm going to move so both the camera and the ailerons are in sync, they're moving. I can also use the rudder to move the camera, and then I have a pitch control as well to look down. And over here is my ground station. It just basically I threw something together very quickly. Let me show you on the back side. So again, ready-made RC, beautiful 1.3 gigahertz receiver, excellent. I've gone almost like 4 miles, and then I have another transmitter just to get almost like a relay, so I don't have to hook up my goggles with the cable, and I just kind of customize one of the cables down here. So this is all the customization that I've done to go long distance with gimbal control